From World War I through the Cold War, the U.S. and its rivals produced an apocalyptic stockpile of chemical weapons. A staggering 25,000 tons of these weapons of mass destruction include the highly potent sarin nerve gas, and it's closer than many Americans can imagine.
There are 8 storage areas where declared chemical weapons are actually under lock and key. There have also been identified 217 separate locations where they have what they call non-stockpile chemical weapons.
Craig Williams is a 58-year-old former cabinet maker in Madison County, Kentucky. But his values were forged a half a world away in the crucible of Vietnam. After serving as an Army translator, he honed his leadership skills in the Vietnam veterans against the war.
When the war ended, I basically hung up my protesting boots and kind of tried to assimilate back into society and so on, until this thing came along.
Craig's activist spirit reawakened when he found his family and community at risk.
There was a notice in the paper that there was going to be a public meeting about these chemical weapons that were stored at the nearby facility. I didn't even know that these weapons were here, as did most people didn't know about it. That was in 1984.
I think you're going to find a lot of people back in the streets, not in Washington, but right here in Madison County, and we'll put a stop to it. Thank you.
On the way home from that meeting with my wife, she looked at me and said, you know, Craig, somebody's got to do something about this. And since I always do what my wife tells me, 20 years later, here I am.
By this time, the Pentagon had plans to destroy the chemical weapons by burning them, right next to the local population.
There's over 500 tons of chemical warfare agents stored directly behind me. Should there be what they call a worst credible event, would be well over 20,000 people would be killed.
Chemical weapons are weapons of mass destruction. A lot of the chemical weapons in the U.S. stockpile are nerve agents, and they're sometimes called nerve gas. It's incredibly toxic. You don't have to inhale it, you don't have to ingest it. Simply the contact with it, you're dead in 3 minutes, and it's a horrible, agonizing death.
Finally, in 1991, Craig was able to bring together a coalition of over 40 representatives from around the world to form the Chemical Weapons Working Group.
It's an international coalition of grassroots organizations from the Pacific, Russia, and the United States who are advocating the disposal of chemical weapons globally, but who wish to prioritize the safety and well-being of the communities and protection of our environment while we pursue that goal.
After years of grassroots lobbying by Craig and his coalition, Congress agreed in 1993 to delay funding for incinerating the hazardous stockpiles and instead looked into safer alternatives.
The basic problem with incineration is that it's a technology that depends on air in and air out via a smokestack. But it doesn't address the other toxic materials that are created in that environment. The other approach is what they call a neutralization approach.
In a key victory for Craig's group, by 2002, the Pentagon had announced that it would not burn the stockpiles in Kentucky and 3 other states. The safer neutralization method was chosen.
It's a chemical reaction, basically with water, no smokestack, no combustion, no ability for this stuff to escape it randomly into the environment.
Craig's diplomatic skills have won an unlikely Republican ally in U.S. Senator Mitch McConnell, who demanded a reallocation of $300 million in federal funds into the neutralization budget. Craig has also played a key role in getting regular citizens unprecedented access to closed-door Pentagon meetings.
Craig has given his life over to working on this 24/7. You can drive through this town just about any night and you'll see the light on up in that office late into the night.
My children have an intrinsic right not to be exposed to environmental pollutants. The first time I was ever interviewed about this, I had my 1-year-old son on my hip, and a reporter asked me, why are you doing this, and I just pointed to him and I said, this is why I'm doing it.
Today, Craig continues his work for safe disposal of chemical weapons globally, now for his grandson. For outstanding environmental achievement in North America, the 2006 Goldman Environmental Prize is awarded to Craig Williams, Berea, Kentucky.